I used to be a student who was never motivated. Every day I went to university because I didn't know what else to do. This is called living passively, not having a purpose or a goal. This caused me to dread university from the moment I woke up each day. Not a nice way to live, and not a good way to be successful at university. The end result after 3 years of dragging myself out of bed was failure. Here is my beautiful transcript. As a student, it wasn't fun when my friends and family asked me, "How did your exams go?" I wanted to run away from everything. Over that summer break I spent a lot of time re-evaluating my decision to study, and what I wanted to do with my life. Or at least what I thought I wanted to do with it at the time. Failure had scared me a lot. Those feelings of regret and embarrassment burned into my brain. I realized that if I wanted to get a good job as an engineer, then I had to finish my degree. I had no choice. I needed the degree to get the job I wanted. The ticket to my future career and the start of the life I wanted to live. That degree finally had a real purpose to me. It became my goal to get to where I wanted. All I had to do now was take action. So I decided to transfer universities and cross-credit, a fresh start for a new me. Every day from then on, I knew why I was waking up early in the morning. I was more motivated to get out of the warm bed in winter. I was more motivated to spend those weekends finishing off an assignment. I was more motivated to ask questions in class when I didn't understand. I was more motivated to study while my friends were out partying. After all, I now had a purpose, and I reminded myself of that purpose every day. For the next 2 years, finish my degree, and get the job I want, never left my mind. What do I need to do this year, this week, today to achieve it? 2 years later, I graduated top of my class, and moved on to start the life I wanted to live. I even managed to redeem my transcript a little. The best way to stay motivated to study every day is to have a real purpose and goals to achieve. Here is the typical first year of B.Tech at an IIT. Most students are shell-shocked at finding that for the first time in their life they are average, mediocre, just so-so. Some keep fighting but many give up, pretending who cares about grades. They start bunking classes, as if that makes them really cool. Meanwhile, some guys keep at it, attending classes and asking questions, doing assignments on time, and staying engaged. The cool guys brand them as magus, and curse them for raising the class average in every test. Now cut to the final year of B.Tech. The highly denigrated mag who gets a scholarship for MS at UC Berkeley or Urbana-Champaign or Carnegie Mellon. Some lucky guy may also make it to MIT or Stanford. He may also show you the photos of the campus he is heading to, like the one below. That day everything changes. The cool guy is imagining the Magu sitting in the MIT quad. He sees that the glow of satisfaction on Magu's face. His slog has paid off. He is going to leave you behind. Literally. At that point you probably want to rewind the clock, and maybe do things differently. But it is too late. The bus has already left. Damn. So back to the original question. How do you motivate yourself to study? Or work hard? It is quite simple really. Just fast forward the clock in your head by 4 years. You will find the answer to your question. Oh boy, I have been there so many times to the level that I thought of dropping out of college quite a few times as I found the lectures and college education boring. Now, have you ever questioned how unfair the world is? Why do some people work 16 to 18 hours under extreme circumstances and still get paid barely enough to support their family? While some people work for several hours in fancy suits and offices yet still get paid millions? Pretty unfair, eh? A friend of mine works for 10 hard hours to get paid $X. For me, it takes an hour of talking to get paid the same amount. Well, for some people, it is the matter of couple of minutes of their time. The reason for all this discrepancy is that the cost of a product or an effort is not linearly correlated with your hard work. Basic principles of economics states that the cost of a product is determined by the supply and demand curve. If there is too much of demand for the job supplier makes the call on the payment. In other words, if there are millions of people who can do what you do, then the reality doesn't care about how many hours you work. That is the simple rule of the job industry. And as you have experienced firsthand, it ain't easy to keep your head focused on studying for hours and hours. It is pretty easy for me to spend my time doing sports, singing, etc. rather than punching the wall for not understanding the Schrödinger's equation. But this is what separates people. This is what decides the roles in the job market at the end of the day. Majority of people can do the physical work. There is too much of supply of workers. This is why they get paid less despite working multiple times harder. If you do not have set of skills that market demands, then you are not valued enough and can always be easily replaced. And education, at least for the current market, can equip you with the necessary skills. Of course, it is not only about the demand and supply, the payment also has to do with the product you deliver. But it is a story for a different time. I understand that you are not interested in education. If you think you are better off without it, go ahead. You have my full support. However, if you are not, then here is the reality. The world doesn't give a SHT about your feelings, bro. Sorry, but that is the sad reality. This by no means aims to demotivate anyone. This is just a grown-up version of oneself and accepting the reality. Sure, I understand that people want to do what they love and media sells you to follow your passion, whatever that means, to change the world. But here are two things I want to say. If you can get to do what you love, then go with it 100%. But, what if you can't get to do what you love? Just gonna sit there and wait for it? Unfortunately, the life doesn't grant what everyone wishes. The best way to deal with it is to face it and take the maximum out of the situation. On the other hand, most of the people forget the fact that they start loving what they do when they become damn good at it. I have seen it so many times. Some people don't even know what they love. They think they do, but in reality, they don't. Here is a personal story. When I was selected to the Science Olympiad team of my country, chemistry was my last choice of subject. I hated it. And most of the people I have met hate chemistry. I feel like they are 100% right. The reason is that the subject is not taught properly. I did not understand it, and this is why I hated it. As I didn't have the luxury of changing the team to study math or computer science, I had simple two options: 1, leave the science team, or 2, study damn hard to qualify for the International Olympiads. Well, I didn't question if my lovely heart wanted to study the subject or not. I decided to study even if I did not like it. I studied damn hard for 3 years and won a gold in national and a bronze in the International Chemistry Olympiads. And you know what? I love chemistry now. I love it because I am aware of the power of what I could do with chem science and engineering skills. I only started to love it once I became good at it. I wouldn't be who I am today had I listened to that lazy and spoiled kid. The motivation provided so far will turn you on to study. This, however, is not the healthy way to motivate yourself. The reason is that you are studying because you are afraid. Sure, the fear is a good source of motivation, but it is not the best source. Think about one of the most valuable assets you have, time. Time listens to nobody. It constantly flies. And we have only constant amount of time. So be it studying, sleeping, talking, etc., time is going to pass. If you think long-term, then investing your time in building useful skills and connections will bring you a prosperous future, statistically speaking, compared to thinking short-term and investing your most valuable asset on temporary values. Besides, realizing what you can do with the power of knowledge, building apps, editing genes, developing renewable energy resources, predicting the future economy, treating patients, etc., is usually more than enough to have a positive motivation to study. It is up to you how you want to spend one of your most valuable assets. In college, I saw lots of students complain about studying. Although I also complained from time to time, questioning what's wrong led to a self-realization, which completely altered my perspective towards studying. You know what? On the entire planet, you are doing a favor only to yourself by studying. Not to your profs, friends, or a stranger on the street. You are helping yourself. You are helping yourself build a better future. I mean, people are just too weak that they don't even want to help themselves. Let's imagine a billionaire. You meet him and he gives you a task to study for 14 hours daily for 6 months. He will have cameras installed in your house to see if you are studying or not. If you complete the task by the end of 6 months, he will award you $1 billion. If this is the case, will you still be asking these types of questions on Quora? No, you will be busy chasing your $1 billion. You will only be thinking about those $1 billion. You will dream about the $1 billion which you are going to get after the end of the week. You will easily be able to avoid distractions because it's a question of $1 billion. Every waking hour you will be motivated to work harder and harder. Failure is not an option for you. Parties, girls, boys, booze, anything cannot distract you. You have a fire burning under your ass. You cannot think of anything but your goals. The only aim in your life right now is to achieve the goals. You are working day in day out without needing motivation from outside because it is coming from inside. You know why this is happening? Your purpose to work is great and close to your heart. Your purpose to earn those $1 billion is great and very close to your heart. And when your purpose is great, it motivates you, guides you. When you are weak, it gives you strength. All the things which could have distracted you becomes very small and weak in front of $1 billion. That is your purpose. Choose something which is great and very close to your heart. You will never go to YouTube or Quora for motivation. Work is not an end in itself. It is a means to achieve a higher goal. Don't look for motivation. It's a trap. It will only get you started but definitely can't get you through. There's only 2 things that can help you go all the way along. It's good habit and discipline. If your habits are good, you don't need motivation in the first place. You really don't have to think about motivation to start. You are seeking out for motivation because you are not studying. You are not studying because you are procrastinating. So the deep-rooted underlying problem is procrastination. Wage a war against procrastination. Don't accept mediocrity. Build a world-class habit and become the most disciplined person you always imagined to be. Here's one small routine that I suggest. Wake up at 3 a.m. and then start studying for 3 hours up till 6. After that, do exercise for about an hour. If possible, join gym. It's an investment, the best investment of your life, or maybe just go for jogging or walking. Get back home till 8 a.m. and then take shower and then do whatever you have got to do in the day. Even if you don't study the whole day, it won't matter much because you have given 180 minutes of your day's best time to study. And at least go to sleep at 9 p.m. since you want at least 6 hours rest before starting your day out. So what happens now? You are given first 5 hours of your day for your improvement. And that is all what you need. Develop this habit. Take your time. It might take few weeks to get this habit developed, and this can happen only with discipline. Once you have developed good habit of waking up early, studying first thing in the morning and then exercising, and are disciplined to follow this every day, you might never think about motivation again. And with time you would realize how to utilize the remaining hour, 24 5 6 equals 13, of your day in the best possible manner. So champion, it all about 2 things, habit and discipline. I have learned this the hard way. And I can assure you, it works. Take it one assignment at a time, and remember, a break is necessary to properly absorb information. Now get off YouTube and go ace those classes. But don't forget to subscribe.